And we're live. Good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you may be, whatever time it may be, whenever you're watching this. You're watching live, like Mega Leech. Hi, Mega Leech. Or if you're watching it back later, I'm going to, in one form or another, keep you company for as long as you see fit, for as long as it works for you. I'm going to be here in the region of 2 hours. Played a bit fast and loose. Sometimes I finish earlier, sometimes I finish later. Just broadly making it about 2 hours a live stream. Just because, really, it's a habit I got into. Justin, did I see the article you sent me on Twitter? Allow me to refresh my mind. Because I forget things. What did you send me? I don't know that I did get a message from you. No, I don't think any message from you came through, Justin. I'm just looking at my mentions. Looking at my mentions. Oh, unless, sorry. No, what was it? No, I don't think I got a message from you. It was about 15 minutes ago. I don't think so. I'm looking at, okay. Did you at me? Because there's nothing showing up in my mentions. Certainly not from 15 minutes ago. So I did not, in fact, get it. Nothing in my mentions on Twitter. So I don't know what's happening. And, yep, no. I definitely don't have anything. Annette, howdy. Oh, my gosh. I just saw the picture you posted on Facebook, Annette. Hot mulled wine. And in that really, I'll show it here, really groovy. It's not really going to show up, is it? No, it's not, because I don't have autofocus on. A skull mug. It's pretty cool. Justin, I don't know if you are spelling my username right, but nothing is showing up in notifications. Yes, I still have some various skull containers. I had 4 skull pint glasses at one point that I quite liked, and they weren't made of very sturdy stuff. Like, they were nowhere near as sturdy as this glass. One of them, the base actually cracked just when I dropped a block of ice in it. So that, I don't know if you can tell, particularly with this thinner glass, has a sort of quite pleasant ringing sound if you tap it, or with a spoon or something. Quite pleasant ringing sound, and it resonates quite nicely when you drop ice in, and clink clink. And so I dropped one bit of ice and it didn't resonate. It was this really flat clank, and I'm like, oh, that's not right. And there's a crack. It cracked right through the base of the glass. So that one was gone. I think Mrs. Angry dropped one, and Shatteroony, and I dropped the other 2. And that was over a period of about 2 years. They died one by one. But this, I was about to say, this is my biggest drinking receptacle. It's not. It's my biggest drinking receptacle that isn't completely ridiculous. I have this huge glass beer stein, probably holds twice as much as this. This holds about 500 mils. The beer stein holds at least 750 mils. It might hold a liter. It's absolutely huge. I got it as like a gift set at a bottle shop so long ago. I don't actually remember exactly when and where I got it, but it was this huge tin of German beer in it. And I think the beer was meant to be the main attraction, but I don't drink beer. I have no interest in beer. It's like, look at the size of that beer stein. I want that. So I bought it for the glass, and the beer sat in my fridge for a number of years until eventually there was an occasion where there was someone who wanted to drink it. And I said, yeah, you beaut, drink that down. And thus it happened that the beer went away. But I still have the beer stein. It's absolutely fucking, when you feel it, it's really fucking heavy because the glass is really thick and the base is really thick. And when it's also full of liquid, it's a little bit of, you do reps with it. A little bit of weight training with the very heavy glass beer stein. If that was a thing you wanted to do, probably have trouble lifting it with my left arm because I fucked up my left shoulder recently as well. Need to go. It's not getting better. I need to go to physio. Justin, you reckon you posted it again? There is nothing in my mentions. I haven't blocked you, have I? I block a lot of people, and I don't always remember it. You're not getting, but you can see me on Twitter, yeah? And you saw the mayor of Dubbo on telly this morning wants to open the economy because there's no Rona there. What sort of fucking economy do they have in Dubbo? What's your username on Twitter, Justin? Yeah, for some reason, someone else was saying to me on social media that Dubbo keeps getting mentioned heaps. I think they were particularly saying the ABC seemed to have a lot of stories about Dubbo. Oh, right. Yeah, no. Okay, yes. I know that username. I did not block you. Is there like an underscore or a dot between Juzzy undies, Justin? Why is it playing up on me? Wait. I'll try and done. What the fuck do you make this mobile app work, honestly? Profiles, list topics, settings, privacy and safety. Oh man, I need to block 3 more people, and I'll have blocked 1,000 people on Twitter. But the blockings don't seem to be in any particular order. Juzzy, I don't know why this is not working. And it used to know some people around Gunnedah. Ooh, you're going to watch Spirited Away. That is a fine piece of viewing. Enjoy that. Nearly all the Studio Ghibli films are good. Spirited Away is particularly good. Music Habit has just been doing the binning. Nice. Turning into somewhat of a ritual. The weirdly popular isolation bin outing Facebook group with over 1 million members now. That exploded. Like, with the person who started it expected, maybe a few dozen people would join, and a lot of the photos are very funny and very entertaining. And yes, I don't know, it just caught the popular imagination. And then over 1 million members in the bin isolation group. You did send me that, Justin. I saw that. Now, I don't know, man. Twitter's fucking up because I can't. But I did see it. Yes, that was a funny article. Someone from the Obama administration, they're saying how frustrating it was to deal with Tony Abbott. They cheered themselves up when they had the shits with Tony Abbott by watching Julia Gillard's misogyny speech, where she fucking nailed him to the wall, like absolutely obliterated him. And he just had to sit there and take it. It was a bit of a magic moment in Australian parliamentary history, quite honestly. And it was very funny to hear people in the Obama administration would regularly get the shits so badly with Tony Abbott, they would watch Gillard's misogyny speech just to cheer themselves up, because they weren't allowed to have a go at him and say, "You're a fucking moron, what's wrong with you?" So they watched someone else saying, "You're a fucking moron, what's wrong with you?" So yes, Justin, I did see that, and now I can't see it, and I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. Wait, am I logged into Twitter on this desktop? Maybe the controls are easier on here. Twitter ads settings. Let me see. Privacy. Display. Dun, 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 dun. Receive massages. No, my DMs are not open. I don't really need that shit. Filter lower quality messages. All my messages are lower quality. Show read receipts. Display media. Yes, I want to see porn. Thank you very much. No, that's just muted words. Oh, I might unmute Christy Winters now that shit's over. You ever get that thing where, like, you're following someone, you quite like them, but they get absolutely fixated on something that you don't give a shit about? And it's not for you to say, hey, shut the fuck up and stop saying that, because it's up to them to say whatever they want. But sometimes you just have to mute them for a while, because it's like, oh, it's really starting to get to me, the fact that you're really fixated with that thing, and I am gonna say something. I'm gonna say something, and it won't be polite. Well, I guess, Justin, the exact circumstance didn't come up for Obama, but weirdly it has since he's not been in office. Like, Gillard was basically responding to Tony Abbott saying, "Oh, you showed favor to this guy Peter Slipper, and we've got records of him being a horrible misogynist person." And she's like, "Fuck you, dude. You don't get to tell me about misogyny." It'd be like someone going Obama, like a white guy going Obama about racism. That would be a context clue too. But he was also, God, he was under such constant attack anyway when he was president. He was a bit circumspect about really going for people. Yeah, I bet he wish he could have told a bunch of people to fuck off, though. Anyway, while I was thinking about it, privacy and safety, looped accounts. It's funny, it's like a big chunk of the accounts I blocked were spam accounts. The majority were really annoying fuckwits. And look, as I said, I'm almost at a 1,000 blocked accounts, but I have been on Twitter for a long time. Yes, I'm not sure how long. Time flies, basically. I don't really remember how long I've been on Twitter. Oh, wait. There's probably a website that will tell me my first tweet. Find your old tweets. How to find your first tweet. How do you do it according to this website? To log into your account, go to advanced search page, enter your username. Oh, okay. It's not that important. I'm not really going to go into it. Yes, Locust Trooper, Tony Abbott is indeed a tool, a rather significant tool. And classic Dunning-Kruger style, he is incredibly oblivious to his own shortcomings. He regularly seems to be compelled to comment on things that are far outside his intellectual capacity, and regularly makes a fool of himself. But that's pretty much all he's capable of. So yes, use cavity and click Twitter for me to post this here. I vary. Sometimes I'm really obsessive with Twitter. Sometimes, like, I think I noticed today, I hadn't even really posted today. What have I done today? I mean, I have now, but I noticed. I was surprised. 4 hours ago, I made one tweet and then I retweeted something. That's all I've done today. That is very. Thank you, Catherine. I joined Twitter in July 2008. I think I didn't start using Twitter properly for about a year after that. I made an account on Twitter just to secure my username. I think I didn't start seriously using Twitter for about a year after that, or the year after I created my account. Because my first tweet's something like, checking this out or something really deep like that. I agree with Justin, Musical Aviator. Tony Abbott is worse than Scummo on every level. Scummo is still a piece of shit, but Abbott is worse than him on every level. Yes, Abbott is just absolutely reprehensible. See, and I just tweeted, dear God, I've been really quiet lately because sometimes I get super fucking obsessed and tweet a shit ton. Yesterday, I just tweeted one photo, pretty photo of a flower. And yeah, the day before, I just tweeted my cocktail video. And the day before that, Oops, what did I do there? I did my gin, and I did a few retweets. And a picture of my cat, which is what Twitter's for, obviously. And it was 4 days away. I said, fuck off of the government's COVID tracking app. It's absolute bullshit. So I've been a bit subdued on Twitter recently. For the last couple of days, anyway. Oh, Safa, Abbott and Credlin were absolutely banging. No two ways about it. Absolutely that was happening. I say with no evidence whatsoever, but I know. Justin, about the same time you joined Facebook. I didn't use Facebook for virtually at all for like a year after I created an account there as well. It's the same deal. I was like, oh, fuck, this is confusing. I don't know how to use this. I was just like hyper focused on YouTube. And I probably had an account on Facebook for somewhere around a year before I started using it seriously. It's just the thing. I'm old. I can concentrate on, maybe three things in terms of social media. And beyond that, it's like too stressful and my focus splinters. I used to focus on my blog and YouTube, and maybe I was doing something else then, but I stopped really focusing on my blog years and years and years ago and be more sort of YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And I've never really picked up any of the other social media. I have an Instagram account and I just use it to post pictures of street art and flowers and selfies of me with cocktails usually. Yes, Locust Stripper, we probably shouldn't even give Tony Abbott oxygen. He's a loser and he's gone. Yeah, back in the day. Well, Blog TV wasn't so much social media. That was just a fun thing I would do once a week because YouTube was, at that point, not good for live streaming, or possibly wasn't even possible. YouTube just keeps fucking changing how they handle live streaming, and it goes from being really fucking difficult to quite easy, like tap one button, to really fucking difficult. And last I looked, it was really fucking difficult. But StreamYard make it really easy. Like YouTube just kept wanting you to fucking install a whole bunch of applications. And I was just, I'm old and do not like challenges in technology. I didn't get on with it all. Noog, hey, how's it going? I did see that in the news, Justin. ACT is claiming they've completely eliminated the coronavirus. And that's potentially a big claim when they haven't tested everyone in the state. Yeah, barring any horrible surprises, we are going to see in the next month or two a succession of relaxations of the isolation rules as the various states go, the number of new cases is so low, we don't think there's any more community transmission. So we're going to relax the rules. And then if we get a huge number of new cases, then they'll tighten the rules again. But it's actually, I don't know. There's so much we don't know. The sort of gut feel is, yeah, we'd probably be okay. It's too soon to relax everything. But, you can progressively start relaxing the rules. And if you don't get any new cases, then you relax a few more rules. Like Strippy, all right, there's been flare-ups in places like aged care homes that they haven't been able to explain. They don't really know why that happened. So that's why not just taking the brakes off and saying everything's back to normal. Go to the footy, go to a rock concert. No. That's months off. I still don't think major events will be happening before summer, because winter's just a really high risk time for colds and flus generally, and there's a perception that it's higher risk for yon coronavirus as well. Again, we don't know for sure, really. There's so much we don't know. So it's a case of, suck it and see, as the saying goes. You got to try something, see what result you get from it. And I know in Victoria, they've just gone, hey, look, besides hospitals and doctors stuff, we've set up 10 mobile testing things in shopping malls all around the suburbs. Go to one of them, and they're not explicitly saying absolutely anyone can get a test, but they're saying, if you have any symptoms at all, like, a bit of a sore throat, runny nose, just come in and they'll jam one of those fucking things up into your brain and you get a COVID-19 test. And they want to test in the next couple of weeks. They want to test 100,000 people, including asymptomatic people, because that is a statistically significant group of people, and that is going to give a very strong indication of, are there hidden cases in the community? Namely, people who appear completely healthy, they're asymptomatic, but they're actually positive. And again, if you're asymptomatic, it's probably not going to affect you at all. It's probably not going to turn into complications. But you could be infecting other people who are much more susceptible to complications. But that's the idea behind really ramping up the testing, is trying to get a snapshot of how many hidden cases might there be in the community, because that's really going to drive decisions about how far to relax restrictions. Oh, well, Locust Tripper, it's fucking up everyone. There's no two ways about it. This is fucking up everyone's economy, and China possibly worse than many. But yeah. Oh no! Oh yeah, no. Yes, I did see. Thank you, Megaleech, for sending me the picture of the coronavirus test. I had seen that before. It's basically via the nasal cavity. They jam the swab right to the back of your throat. It's easy to forget that nasal cavity connects all the way down to the throat. They jam this fucking thing right back there. Apparently, it's a bit unpleasant. Doesn't sound good, does it? Does not sound good at all. No, every time I think of it, it's like, oh, fuck no. Like on the one level, it's like, a test would be good. It would answer things. And it's like, oh, God. Oh, and it'd be, even though it would be over quickly, and even the after effects is going, oh, God, that was fucked. That was fucked. I hated that. That's not going to last that long. But it doesn't seem great, quite honestly. It's like, what are we going to do there? Okay, Megaleech wants me to share the picture. I'll show you the picture. I might even, how big is it? That's what she said. Oh, message request. What the fuck is this? The fucking Facebook Messenger is so shit. God, the Facebook fucking interface is shit. Okay, recent. From Daniel, where's the picture? Wonder if there's a bigger picture of it. I'm just gonna. What does coronavirus test look like? Images. Show me an image. No, that's not gross. That's the same image. Oh, wait, is this bigger? No, it's not. Anyway, so this is the picture Daniel sent me. Anyway, I'm just going to share it after all that missing a boot. Got to share my screen and a Chrome tab. It'll look a little bit small, but see how far they go back? It's a little bit small, but yeah, basically through your nasal cavity right to the back of your throat. Ugh! Oh, that is not appealing. That is absolutely not appealing. Oh, cool. Locust Reaper building in Warrigal. Good luck. Good luck with that. I hope it all goes very well. You know, the test is a warning to keep breaking people who break the lockdowns. But, I mean, ultimately, if not everyone, the overwhelming majority of the population should be tested. That's how we get a degree of surety of how widespread the infections are. And by the majority, I mean over 75% of the population. God, how are you going to do it with kids, though? I don't know. Just like straight up in there. Would not go well with kids. But it's not going to go that well with me, quite honestly. I'm not looking forward to the idea of having that thing jammed up my nose, straight back into my brain. I suppose I'll do it if it gets to the stage where they're like, Nakan, we literally need everyone to get tested. Suppose I'll do it. Really, really don't like the idea of it. Really don't. But I suppose, to be irresponsible if it gets to the stage where they're saying we want to test as close to everyone as we can get. And suppose so. Ugh. And yeah, I'm sure me complaining about this, any number of people with chronic health issues who have to have fucked invasive tests done on the regular will be going, oh, you're worried about getting that once. Let me tell you what happens to me every week. I am thoroughly aware of my privilege on this front, that I don't have any chronic conditions. And so I don't have to take a lot of medication, and I don't have to get jabbed and poked and prodded and all these sundry things that happen to people who do have chronic conditions. Yes, so I'm aware of my privilege. I'm quite glad I don't have to even just, being male as opposed to female. Talk to women about like pap smears. Kevin, Bearing brought you here. Really? Did he hold your hand? Were you scared to come on your own? Yes, Catherine, I'm describing AIDSy, and he has, absolute horror stories. Because the one thing men get, of course, is the prostate exams. Finger up the butt. And we've told this story before. There was a joke when Gillard was Prime Minister. Her bloke was doing a promotional thing for prostate cancer awareness, saying, man, it might sound a bit off-putting, but you really should have the test done. And he tried to make a joke, and he said, maybe you want to find a petite Asian lady doctor to do it because they have small fingers. And he got some blowback. Again, not from people who were actually offended, but for people who were trying to score political points. What the racist. My favorite bit was AZ went, that's not true. That is not true at all. Hey, Stella, good evening to you. Because AZ said he had one. It was like and it was a petite Asian lady doctor who apparently was a bit nervous about. She hadn't done a lot. When he bent over, and she just sort of went, "Pow!" And he went, "No, gently." He said, if you want someone to do it gently, you want like a big burly male nurse to do it because they fucking understand. They go, all right, brother, just gonna ease it in. We're gonna lube. It's gonna feel a bit weird. We're gonna do it gently. You'll be okay. They understand. So according to Daisy, that's who you want. Maybe he's just got a thing for male nurses. Maybe that's what's really going on there. Like, should you reckon his videos have been removed? I think because he was worried about being. The story that I got told, he was worried about being demonetized. So he removed a bunch of videos where he was blatantly whipping up mobs to attack people because YouTube said they were going to crack down on that sort of thing. I don't know. That's what I heard secondhand. I've never actually seen any of them myself. Justin, you've had the camera up the butt. I just had the one where they do down the throat and up the butt at the same time, which he calls the spit roast, which apparently medical staff don't find humorous. If they say, we're going to put you under, because I think he was under general anesthetic last time they did it, because they needed him relaxed because it was a very long process. They were going like fucking all the way through because he just has so many horrific health problems. And when they said they were going to do both ends, he goes, ooh, it's a spit roast, is it? And that did not get the smile he was hoping. He was hoping even possibly to get a laugh out of that. Not so much. Stella, that's probably was Mistress M said with regards to the anal probing lubrication, relaxation, and lubrication. Oh, you've had you've had all the probes done, Justin. The one that goes up your nose and then down your throat. Sometimes they do it up if they need to see in the nasal cavity, they do it up your nose. And if they don't need the nasal cavity, sometimes they just do it straight down your throat. To see what's in your tum. So it depends what they're looking for, really. I've not had either of those. When I did have a health scare a few years ago, they ran a whole bunch of tests and they're all good. But the doctor went, ooh, and the last one I've got to do, mate, sorry to tell you. It's like getting the guy, finger up the butt time. No one, all right, normally I'd ask you to buy me dinner and drink first, but you're the doctor, you know what you're doing. It helps, and this guy had a sense of humor. It helps if they had a sense of humor. Just they put you to sleep with the butt cameras. There's the interesting one they do with a camera in a pill, and again, I think they just like I don't know if they make it, but it's like it's a tiny camera about this big, and they actually encase it in a gel pill and get you to swallow it. And you shit it out and then get it when it comes out the other end. And it's recording the whole way through to down the throat, in the tummy, down through the intestines and the bowel, and out the butt we come. That's an interesting home movie right there. Incredible. What was the old movie called? Fantastic Voyage? I think it was called Fantastic Voyage. I don't know. And no, that's not right. Spelling bad. Fantastic. No, not Fantastic Furniture. Oh, Voyage. Yes. Film that came out the year I was born. The Fantastic Voyage. Oh, man. I saw that movie a few times when I was a kid where the people get shrunk down in a little like submarine ship and injected into someone's body. That did a good spoof of on The Simpsons. So yes, what they actually do is not send people inside you, but they do send a camera through you, which is pretty funny. Oh no! Locust Trooper, you have food poisoning, you might shit your pants. Don't want that to happen. Scat-tastic voyage. Megaleech in with the puns. Very worrying. That Stella, your niece has had the pill camera. Ooh. Well, it's not small. Like, it's not, I understand it's about this big. When you think about it, that would be quite difficult to swallow. If you want to keep looking off to the side, Young Mazangri made some chocolate chip biscuits this afternoon, and they're just there. I'll show you. They're huge. Chocolate chip biscuits. Made with brown sugar and full of buttery goodness. And they're very tempting. And they smell. I have actually had one. They're very good. I had one when they were still warm. They're very good. And they smell really good, and they're very tempting. So even though I'm being good and not having any more, it's just like every now and then, because they're just there. Because I'm doing this from the kitchen, as you might be able to tell, like with a fridge behind me there. Yeah, they like catch one and go, biscuits, chocolate chip. Eat for your amusement. No, as I have to keep explaining to Aidsy when he's got the whole fucking evening and he knows what's coming up and he chooses to start eating just as I get him on a live stream. We're like, no, eating on camera is absolutely disgusting, particularly if he's eating like fucking cereal, like with milk, so it's really sloppy. Absolutely disgusting. But anyway, yes, Stella, Megaleech is a feeder from the sounds of that. Bonjour to you, Lee. Locust Trooper, when am I going to buy my first home? Mrs. Angry is the property owner. She owns 2 apartments, and we rent this place we're living in. My work was never stable enough to do the whole mortgage thing, although the amount I've paid in rent would have been paying for a mortgage. But barring winning lotto or something, I don't see me purchasing a home, maybe retiring into an apartment with Mrs. Angry. But again, unless things change radically, not buying you. Locust Trooper bought the land with cash. Well, on your next bank job, you need a driver. Get me. I'll be part of the crew for the heist, the money heist. Has anyone noticed there's either a film or a series on Netflix called Money Heist? And I was like, really? That's the name you came up with? Is there a sequel where the crime is a murder and it's called Murder Kill? It's just very strange. You did say, Pad. Congrats to you, my friend. Congrats on your achievement. That is a not insignificant achievement, and you have done well. Leach, you're going to be the emotional support from afar for the bank heist, but you still expect an equal cut. That honestly seems fair. Justin, your parents owned houses without mortgage. Yeah, look, I can look back on the last 20, 30 years and go, oh, look at those opportunities I've missed. I'm a goddamn idiot. But it's just never been a thing for me. Yes, I should have bought a house when I first moved to Melbourne, like 20 some years ago. It's particularly, I've had this conversation before, Williamstown. There was a whole release of new residential property in Williamstown when I first moved to Melbourne, and it was quite unfashionable, but the value of those places in the last 20 years would have at least doubled. And And yeah, I like Williamstown. I lived in that general area for a couple of years in rental accommodation. But yeah. Actually, no, I side with you. I didn't go and see the film Ford versus Ferrari, in large part because that's such a shit name for a film. That is just a shit name for a film. Various people think it's a good film, and I'll see it eventually. Like when it's on a streaming service, I'll probably watch it. But I 100% agree with you. That was a shit name for a film. Every now and then you think, where's that? Who authorized that? Well, you did it the hard way, Locust Trooper. Lived on cans of tuna and chicken for 7 years to save. Well, like I said, man, good fucking job. Good fucking job. Justin, if you have a stable job, now's the best time to buy a house. Well, because of the nature of the economy at the moment, I would say I don't have a stable job. Gamma, how much is a piece of land these days? It hugely dependent on where you look, I think. I mean, if you have the liquidity and security now in the next, probably even more in the next 12 months, there will be a real dip in the housing market and there will be an opportunity to buy. It's just never really been high on my list of priorities. Yes, Big Leach. Locust Troop has, I'm pretty sure, deprived himself of avocado toast. Did the hard yards, no avo. Isn't it weird how that became, like, I was going to say boomer, but it was definitely Gen Xers in the media saying, for the millennials with their avocado toast and their expensive coffees. And is like, dude, that's such a dumb stereotype. Ooh, Locust Tribute, 60K for land in Warrigal. And Stella, 1-ups, 20K for land in Tassie. Again, probably depends where. And it depends where you want to live, what lifestyle. Just what's better, to pay off HEX or put a deposit on a house? I am not a financial advisor. My understanding is there's a mandatory amount to pay back on HEX when your income's at a certain level. Gamma, gonna jump in, wrong side of 40. I'm on the fun side of 40. Probably depends on your point of view if it's the wrong side. I did some dumb shit on the other side of 40. Had good times and bad times one side of 40, good times and bad times this side of 40. I'm a bit of a live in the moment guy. And in all seriousness, I don't find myself going, I miss when I was in my 20s and going out to raves and live gigs. It was wild and, I could do all these things. I enjoyed all of that, but I don't find myself sitting around going, I miss that. I just enjoy the moment that I'm in. Stella, get a 3-bedroom house in your town an hour out of Kalgoorlie for 60K. So there's also a question of lifestyle and where you want to live and if you want to live. And I have the complications of having a family. Yes, Gamma, life, what's that saying that was made by a desperate middle-aged man? Life begins at 40. I also don't look with disdain on my younger years. Most of the time I was happy. I've never been rich, but I've never really suffered. I mean, my first couple of years out of uni, living in Sydney, and I was either unemployed or underemployed. I didn't have a proper job, as in a full-time job. I Oh, this is kind of not exactly true. I took a job straight out of uni. There was nothing to do with my work. I was working for a stockbroker for a year, and then I quit because it's like this is honestly not something I want to keep doing. And then I was unemployed or underemployed for a number of years, doing a bunch of different casual jobs. And then I got my first proper grown-up adult full-time job when I was 27. And I have been more or less gainfully employed ever since then. So, and in fact, I've been contracting most of the time since then. I've done a couple of years in permanent jobs, most of the time working as a contractor. And that's a little bit volatile. Be one of the reasons I've never bought property. Another reason, like, is I've never actually given a shit about it. And in a pretty meaningful way, I do regret that, because if I'd have got my shit together 20 years ago, that could well have worked in my favor. Yeah, let's trip it. Look, doing it at all is a good effort. Doing it on a disability pension, mammoth effort on your part. You deserve reward for the effort you put into saving that. That is a really significant achievement. You should be proud of that. Lee, 28, you're an up-and-coming young man. World in front of you. You know, the world's in front of me. See, now I feel like going off on a tangent, but a slightly related topic. Speaking of age, the immortality, the singularity, rapture of the nerds. If you're unfamiliar with the terms, it's the idea that computers will be so advanced and so powerful, and we will have a so much better understanding of how our brain works and what our consciousness actually is. You'll be able to upload your consciousness to a computer. And so, being divested of physical form, your consciousness could exist forever in the cloud. A lot of magical thinking behind that. My biggest thing with it is not computers will never be that powerful, because anyone whose predictions rely on, I don't think computers will ever be that powerful, is going to look like an idiot in a couple of decades. But I think it's limits of humans that we are going to continue to have trouble understanding what consciousness actually is. And how do you replicate something that you don't even adequately understand? So, but people way smarter than me, way smarter than me, are convinced this will happen. But having worked in technology for a couple of decades, I'm well aware of the optimistic blindness technology people get. They have this unswerving faith in technology. The algorithm will solve all. And they continue to think that no matter how many times technology and the algorithm fail. So personally, I don't think the singularity will happen. And that's not a limitation in computers. That's a limitation in humans. So, yeah. But like I said, a huge caveat that people who are far smarter than me are convinced it will happen. So I don't know who's right. So that's one of the big questions with consciousness. We don't know what it means. What is it? Our consciousness, unless you're a Fruit Loop who believes in reincarnation, our consciousness didn't exist before we were born. So, what is consciousness? How does it come into being? And that's the big question. Even if what the nerds thought would happen with singularity happens, is it you in the machine or just a simulation of you that is so advanced it doesn't know it's a simulation? And that idea has been explored many times in science fiction and philosophy, for that matter. If you're programmed to believe you're real, how is that different from being real? Like, if you could actually make a program self-aware and it was so complex that you couldn't tell its form of consciousness from human consciousness, what's the difference? What is real? It gets very complex. You got told by reincarnation freaks that you were John Lennon, but you don't want to be that narcissistic Beatle. Wife beater as well, actually. Justin, yeah, we in a Sims game. Shelf will be your cells are doing a slow, seamless transition. Yeah, maybe. This is Megaleech. More interesting question comes when you have nanomedicine machines that can replace cells in the human bodies. How much can you replace till it's not you? Well, your body replaces itself, was it every 7 years or something? Cellular replacement. But yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, if you've got nanomachines going into your body and patching up your brain, when is it still you? And that's the question of cloning as well. If you grow a clone that has your consciousness in it, is it you if it thinks it's you? Locust Trooper, you're doing your last year in Masters in Psychology. That'd be a rude question. I don't ask it how much she earns. Also, Mrs. Angry works in public health, which doesn't pay as much as private practice. So it probably depends what you intend to do. Again, Justin, I don't think there's problems ethically with killing Sims in a Sims game because it's quite a simple program and you can show that it's quite a simple program, and any of their reactions are pre-programmed and predetermined, and there's nothing remotely approaching consciousness in a sim. What's fun, the TV series Westworld, they are having a lot of fun exploring the nature of consciousness, free will, self-determination, what is good and what is evil, what is real and what isn't. They are having a lot of fun exploring that. Yeah, I won't do any spoilers for any seasons, but it is if you've never watched Westworld, currently in its 3rd season, really worth watching because it does some very interesting things, like the robots in the theme parks, they're known as hosts, are so advanced. It's very easy for guests at the park to form a bond with a host because they're complex a way as a human does. And what ends up happening is that in different ways, just from being in existence for so long, because some of them are in existence for decades, and they actually start to learn, and they actually start to reach a state of consciousness. And different hosts come by it in different ways. But they're still seen as objects that are owned in this park. Then eventually, third season gets out into the real world, and we get to see humans don't have much more autonomy on in the world than the hosts do in the theme parks. It's a very interesting thing they play with. Safi, you're remembering the Microsoft. Well, again, to be strictly accurate, what Microsoft released was a simulated artificial intelligence. If I'm being really pedantic, artificial intelligence has a very specific meaning. And what Microsoft released was a quite advanced program that could learn and could simulate artificial intelligence and self-awareness. And what Microsoft learned within about 24 hours is the internet is full of very devious people who would enjoy nothing more than to fuck with their creation. And they pulled it because basically a bunch of 4chaners turned it into a Nazi within 24 hours. It was actually pretty funny. Being a Nazi is not funny. Subverting a corporation like Microsoft because they were too naive to understand what people would do in the wild. Locust Trooper, there's probably, I mean, again, I'd be the wrong person to ask. You probably find out that there's professional organizations for psychologists. That's where you'd find out about how to set up in private practice and what you could expect to learn. Ooh, that's a nice paragraph, shelf warmer. Consciousness could just be an evolved set of piloting software that thinks it's in charge for the conveniences and survival prospects of all the other cells in the community of the body. Also, we could just be a host system for bacteria, because there are a range of bacteria and viruses that can control our body in ways that we can't, which is not a fantastic thought, honestly. Oh, that's beautifully philosophical, Musical Aviator. Microsoft developed a program to learn about AI, but instead they learned about humanity. That is good, right? That is a beautiful philosophical statement for how much Microsoft fucked up. So, right. Virus car. Oh, we're a virus car. I thought, what the hell does that mean, Megalesh? Yes, we're a virus car. There's a really fun book. There's a writer, Scott Westerfeld, who writes young adult fiction. He's a very good writer, has a few good series, and has a particularly good one that I'm absolutely stunned has not been turned into a movie series or a TV series. It's known as the Uglies series. It's from the classic period of dystopian teen speculative fiction. It's set in it's like a post. It's not so much apocalypse, but it's like a post-collapse world. Like our world has collapsed. But this surviving group of humans are doing very well, and they've learned from the excesses of the past. They know the unbridled growth of the past caused problems, but they have a very controlled society. And why it's called Uglies is when you're a kid and going into your teenage years, um, you're just yourself, right? And so you're ugly, but you hit, I forget what the age is, it's like 16 or something, and they do this surgery to make you pretty. And because they talk about in the past that, pretty people got benefits and ugly people got shunned. And this way, everyone's equal. But you also don't have a lot of freedom, but there's not a lot of inequality either. So the original trilogy is called Uglies, Pretties, and Specials. So the first one, the protagonist is an ugly. She's a teenager pre the operation. And then in Pretties, she's sort of trying to form a rebellion. And in Pretties, she's had the surgery to make her pretty. But Specials is like an enforcement branch. They're like special branch. And they get genetically engineered with all these skills and powers. It's a pretty good series. But he also has one of his version of vampires. It's called Peeps. And Peeps is slang for parasite positive, because what happens, there's some sort of parasite that gets into your system that, to all intents and purposes, makes you behave like a vampire from fiction. And there's some very fun stuff in it. But between each chapter of the book, this is a short piece where he writes about real viruses, real parasites, I should say, not viruses, parasites. And some of that's really freaky, how just microscopic parasites can take over our body and fuck us up, and our body does what they want, not what we want, which is really creepy. Coffee and chill. What are we saying? Not sure about nerd stuff. Pro X. Were you talking about technology? Enjoy not running specific 64-bit applications on your Pro X. Is that a phone? MacBooks? I do have an iPhone, but I don't have any Mac computers. So I am not that technical, so I don't know what any of that means. Ugh. Ha! Lex Trooper, I can't answer that either. Is Microsoft making Windows bloatware again? God knows what they're doing behind the scenes. I should know. Yes, Gamma, there's a weird thing. Viruses and bacteria can kill us. They may be driving our evolution. And that's why successful viruses are ones that take a while to make us sick and don't kill us. Because an aggressive infection that kills you quickly can't spread as easily. But a quiet, slow growth infection or virus or whatever, that you don't even realize you're sick until it's well advanced in your system and you've been contagious and given it to other people. That's a virus that can fucking succeed in this world. If a virus is too aggressive, it won't survive because it'll kill its host. Anyway, parasites prefer not to kill us because they need us. So, yeah. It's where you get symbiotic relationships. Again, sorry, God, I was just flashing to a nature documentary I heard. There's like the way some parasites work and control the behavior of insects and animals and even plants to propagate themselves is absolutely mind-blowing. The complexity of nature absolutely does my head in. So, yes, all of the strange mysteries of the world. I think that's why scientists have to specialize, because shit's too complicated to know everything. You've got to specialize in something, learn a lot about one thing, and then that tends to make you kind of blind to important things around you. But think, hey, look, it's after halfway. And in case you didn't notice, I called this live stream Happy Birthday, Louisiana, because on this day, April 30, way back in 1812, Louisiana became the 18th state of the United States. So it's the birthday of the state of Louisiana, or Louisiana, as they like to say. And you've got a really nice cocktail tradition in New Orleans, particularly French influenced. There's a few good New Orleans cocktails. I'm going to make one. Lex Strip, wasn't that the Black Plague? I don't know how Black Plague managed to kill, what, a third of the world's population? And it just died out naturally when it killed a whole fuck ton of people. And other people had some resistance to it. Wow, we're going big on the philosophy tonight, and I love it. Science can't save us from the terror of the gods, so we have romance and art. Nicely said, shelf warmer. So what I'm going to do to celebrate the birthday of Louisiana, I'm going to make a cocktail that I quite like called the Sazerac, which in a lot of ways is really just an old-fashioned with rinse of absinthe in it. And most of the recipes for a Sazerac, they say you should rinse the glass with absinthe and then tip it out. I don't do that. I just put a little bit of absinthe in. That's me. Lee, you want to join the live chat? Yeah, Gamma, that ant parasite thing is freaky. Just look up some stories about how parasites control the life cycle. Yeah, it's a fungus. That's right. Gamma, it's a fucking fungus. Jesus, it's wild. Like, you find out at a micro level, the wildest science fiction shit imaginable is happening. It's absolutely wild. Who wants to join the live chat? Lee seems keen. That seems like a thing we could do. Join the live chat. All you need is a webcam. So I will do that. That's the link. If anyone wants to join the live chat, have a bit of fun, all you need to do is follow that link. Just click on the link. You don't need any particular software. You just need a webcam. So that's a big question, and you need to ask someone far smarter than me. Were viruses on Earth before humans? Coffee and chill. If you're a trusty UK viewer, you can come in. Open season, basically, so long as you behave. That's a good question, Shelf Warmer. Ex-girlfriend was freaked out by mushrooms, didn't know if they were flora, fauna on either. Where are we? Lee. Oh, it's trying to connect you, Lee. There you are.
I'll be back.
You'll be back. Okay, so it's working. You can come back. There you go. And Megaleech, how's it going?
I'll be back.
Okay, Lee's going to come back.
Just pausing, muting the other one.
That's fair. Good man. Oh, I did see a funny quote. I think it's just like on Twitter the other day. It's like from a whatever we call a plant scientist, just going, it's like, no, trees are fucking weird and you should be scared of them because they do the like I saw the photo. Apparently, famously at one university, to prove a point, some students. It was a fully grown tree. They uprooted this tree and then like planted it upside down, planted the branches into the ground, and over a period of years, the roots up in the air became branches, and the branches took root in the ground, and the tree just adapted.
That's
Like
amazing.
it doesn't make any sense. The roots started sprouting leaves, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
but what did it do for leaves in the meantime?
yeah. Well, I think it didn't happen instantly, but I think within a year or two, it sprouted leaves, and the fucking branches took root in the ground. And I was
Surely
like,
there must have been some leaves protruding, because otherwise photosynthesis wouldn't have been able to take
I,
place.
I don't know that, and that's a good question. I don't know that level of detail. That maybe the branches weren't completely submerged, and so there were leaves above the ground or something. But yeah, you can up. I don't know if it works for all trees, but for this particular tree, you can uproot it and reverse it. Here, Coffee and
That's amazing.
Chill's going to join us. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Safa, yeah, I'm good tonight. Yeah.
Coffee and Chill, it's live. You working? No, he's muting. He's got someone there. There you go. We all good? It should be working. I can see you.
Yeah, we can hear you, but you're
Yeah,
a
I
little
can hear
quiet.
you too. You're just saying things quietly. Oh, there's someone there with him, I think. Trying to sort something out there.
You may need to mute YouTube if you haven't already.
Yeah, so plants are super. And you can do that thing, certain trees, you can do the thing where you train it to grow and it can form weird fucking patterns. I think if I just do
You see Shelfwarmer's comment? Leaves are photosensitive like a cloud of eyes.
Oh, okay, dude. That was suitably creepy. That was suitably creepy. Yeah. Oh, geez, you get a good Google image result if you put weird. This is the tree I was talking about.
Sure.
I'll try and share this image. Open the image in a new tab. Yeah. Oh, Lee, are you back, Lee? Yes, you look back. Although he's not saying anything, so anyone's guess. I'm going to share this picture. You are back. Look at this tree.
Back.
Hello, I think it's working.
Yeah,
Yes,
I can
it
hear.
is.
But okay, check this tree out. That lattice pattern, that's human intervention. Humans did that. That was like 4 trees, I think, and they bend the trunks around as it grows, but then they just all merge together and become that weird lattice tree. They don't do that naturally. But it's a particular sort of tree you can do that with. And humans make it, but the tree just goes, sure, I'll just fuse together and be super friggin' weird.
You see pictures of trees growing around bikes and park benches and things like that. So, yeah, but that's not the one they turned upside down.
No, that's not the one they turned upside down. Well, actually, I'll see if I can find the picture. I'll just do a search of upside down tree. Upside down tree. Yep, here's one. Open in new tab. Check it out. I've got to share that screen now. Look, it's an upside down tree. You can see that those were roots that are up there. And it just continued to grow when it was turned upside down.
That looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can find the story behind it. Where are we?
Share the link.
Upside down trees. Baobab is called an upside down tree. Yeah, but that's different. Upside down Christmas tree. No, that's not what we're looking. What we see in upside down trees. Okay, is this it? It's a Wikipedia thing. A genus of deciduous tree. Oh, no, that's baobabs again. They're weird trees. They're natural and weird trees. Now, I just stumbled across this story on Twitter the other day where some weirdo students uprooted the tree. Apparently,
sounds like something
tree
students
planted
would do.
upside down is the search term you're after.
Yeah, okay, that might work. Tree planted upside down. Apparently, upside down Christmas tree. What happens if you plant a tree upside down? Can cut off a limb and put it in the ground, turn into a new tree. Yes, it will be a clone. What is the upside down tree? No, not the baobab. Would a tree grow work if it's planted upside down? Can I grow a tree upside down? Upside down trees at the Glacier Gardens in Alaska? I don't know. I can't find the original thing, which is a bit frustrating. But it's a weird thing. Trees are freaking weird. Just saying. Trees are weird. Oh, Musical Aviator is saying it was from the University of British Columbia. There you go. They're Canadian.
Canada, eh?
Yeah, weird Canadians. They'll do it. Well, I'm going to pull a few things together. Yeah, he's got his proud Canadian swag. I love it. All right, so I'm going to make
Fresh from Canada too.
Nice.
a version of.
Do you reckon they irradiated that in the post to kill COVID or anything else?
What are we saying about COVID?
No. This was way before COVID.
Oh, way before.
Oh, my shirt that was sent to me by Trudeau.
Right.
Yeah, I was just saying about the practice of irradiating mail from different countries. They did it for lots of things, biological stuff. But I wonder if it's more common practice now just with regular mail.
Maybe. I haven't heard, but you could imagine people exploring it.
I'm sure it's expensive, so I don't know.
Yes, probably.
Maybe just ultraviolet or something.
There's probably health things about it. Okay, and my P-Shaw's bitters. Okay, so I'm just going to stir this in the glass, actually, because it's not that complex to drink. And I'll put... Actually,
shelf format. What would happen if we stuffed Don Burke upside down into his backyard, which is the real arsehole?
Yes. For those who don't know, within the entertainment industry, Don Burke is known as Australia's Harvey Weinstein. Don Burke is a really gross serial abuser. Yes. And that's why he disappeared from TV. Yeah. It wasn't made public at the time, but basically at the height of his fame, he disappeared from TV. And it's because his behavior had gotten so bad, the executives just went, fuck no, what the hell? And they canned him from TV. And it was only like a year or so ago that there were some major revelations about him made public, you know, in the era of Me Too. But yeah, all the senior executives were just like, oh no, everyone knew. Everyone knew what a horrible fucking shit.
And they were okay with it. Oh yeah, no, we're making money. Ugh.
Yeah, and they were, but at a certain and kind of weirdly to their credit, because no one ever stopped Harvey Weinstein, and he was actually far worse than Don Burke. But at some point, the execs just went, and it wasn't general knowledge, so they weren't pressured to do it. But the execs just went, oh God, no! What? Oh fuck, dude, you can't be doing that. You mean saying Don Burke abused?
Don Burke abused me. Yeah, that's a no.
Don Burke abused me, but I'm only one of the many.
Yeah. Don't like to think what Don Burke would have done with a garden gnome and its pointy hat. You know, anything.
Sounds like something Aidsy would enjoy.
Oh no.
Well, it's all pretty mysterious.
That sounds like something that Al Stewart would call a silly galah.
Yeah. You got to be careful where you sit down around garden gnomes. You can get a nasty surprise. Just recently, I don't know, every now and then YouTube randomly throws up one of my own old videos in the videos that it suggests for me.
And I don't think I want to watch that.
I sometimes watch them, and one I did watch recently was when Aidsy and I were in the sex shop that Eva was working in, and she's showing us all the products. And we're doing this one where I'm trying to have a serious conversation with Eva about this, and Aidsy would just keep coming up with some really freaky sex toy, and just like, I found this.
Sounds like Aidsy.
I thought he'd be more like, yeah, got this one, yeah, and that one. Oh yeah, got one of these.
Yeah, the favourite was they had what I assume was a purely novelty butt plug, but I think some people would have tried, because it was like a traffic cone. I'm not joking. It was at its widest point was about this wide, and it was about this big, just that traditional butt plug shape, but it was this big. And he's going, "What about that one?" And, "Yeah, buddy, you go take that one off in the corner." And then I was talking to Eva for another minute or so, and then off camera goes, Aidsy goes, "I need help now. Bring lube now." It's just like, oh dear, we're gonna have to end there. Aidsy's got himself in a spot of bother.
Oh dear.
But yes, sex shops are funny places. With everything on the internet, I don't know. I suspect the ones that are still in business sell drugs, but
Not worth.
But the other thing is, obviously you can't. Well, you can buy toys over the internet, but you can't get them for free over the internet. So I think shops that specialised in quality toys are still in business. But so, in fact, Craig, who owned the shop that I used to shoot the videos in, still has the shop, but and we're like Facebook friends, and he just messages occasionally, "If you ever want to do another video, just let me know. Come on in." I was like, "Yeah, I might one day."
Free advertising.
Yeah. All right, so this is my Sazerac, and it's not quite the usual one. I used my, as I said, a Sazerac is kind of like an old-fashioned with a splash of absinthe. This is actually my pre-mixed old-fashioned from the Australian whiskey maker, Starwood. So the bitters in this is Australian wattle seed bitters, which is interesting. Coffee and chill. Your audio wasn't working. Okay, I thought you were doing okay. Oh, well,
it was
dropping in. Anyway. Yeah. Oh well. But thanks for dropping in. I actually do like being able to place a face with the name, so it's good to see you drop in for a while, even if the audio wasn't going to work. But yeah, look, there was also a Sazerac recipe that said use a little bit of cognac, which not all of them say. So I put a little bit of cognac in this as well. And your classic Creole bitters, Peychaud's, that's the Norlands bitters. It's a different style to Angostura. And a little bit of sweetener, although I think there was a bit of sweetener in the Starwood, but I just put a little bit of agave syrup in as well. And oh yes, I'm down in the bayou now. Down in the bayou. You're just doing the Tory straight from the bottle.
It's actually mixed with lemonade in the bottle. It was the last little bit.
That's like putting a blue, like if I make a drink with like my blue absinthe, so the drink ends up being blue, going out in public with it like in a Windex spray thing.
Yeah.
And freaking people out just by drinking Windex. Good times, good times.
Oh, coffee and chill. I watched your last discussion where there were people talking about software dev would have been nice to join in on that.
Yeah, that was Abigail is a quite experienced dev, and in fact, I've got another like Melbourne-based internet friend, and she's just friggin' multi-skilled. Besides being a software dev and an artist, as in a digital artist, she's done character design for video games you've probably played. She also does like tabletop miniatures. She loves painting, the Dungeons and Dragons type miniatures. So she does a bit of everything. She does dev, coding, digital art, physical art, game character design. She's freakishly multi-talented. And I keep saying, yeah, well, you've got to come on a live stream or a podcast or something. Delaney.
Sounds interesting.
Oh, she's so fucking multi-talented, and she's very good on some of the social issues too. She's done a lot of research on a lot of the history of queer rights and whatnot, and she's like I said, you can talk about 20 different things with Delaney and have just absolutely fascinating conversations. And she keeps saying, yes, I will. And I was like, yeah, okay, well, you could actually do it, not just say you will. You've got to actually do it.
Send her a message.
Yeah, no, I do on semi-regular. Like, I actually met.
I'm about to go live.
Yeah, no, I met Delaney through Eva, who I used to do the videos with. So Delaney's like a mutual. And she keeps saying she will. I have to get her at some point. Oh, yeah, the new rise of COBOL recruit. Yes. It was... what was causing them seeking out the COBOL programmers again? I've gone blank. I know I experienced it with Y2K.
I was going to say...
There was something else just recently, and I don't remember if it's about coronavirus or something, but there was some reason that there was a surge in demand for COBOL programmers again. I can't remember. God, my brain no work good.
Oh, that reminds me of a story I heard from an elderly person saying that in World War II they hired autistic people to decipher messages from enemy troops or enemies over the radio.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard a few stories along that line. Autistic people who are gifted in particular ways can see code, and not just like human encoding. Over cases of people who can actually run computer programs in their head if they see the lines of like machine code, let alone like visual basic programming. They can actually see once they learn how machine code works, they can just read machine code and tell you how to debug it, and they'll just go, that doesn't make sense, that contradicts this, and the program will go, shit, oh my god, I left off a parentheses, shit. And because the programmer
semicolons.
the programmer runs it and it crashes and they're not sure why. And there've been multiple cases of people who can actually run the code in their head, and they just go and they instantly see, I can't keep going because that doesn't make sense, and and they do it visually. It's like and then in World War II there were code breakers who would just see patterns where everyone's going, wow, this is just really complex, and they'd go, oh no, look, there's the pattern. That means that means that means that. And for them, it goes together like a jigsaw puzzle. And they go, no, that's perfectly sensible what they're saying there. And everyone else is going, really? Really? But with all sorts of things happen with code.
Yeah, I see code in my head.
It's multiple and again, codes. Some autistic people very gifted with mathematics. They can any equation. They're just like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, no, I see what you're doing there. Yeah, okay. And us poor mere mortals look at it and go, what is that now?
Actually, I've got a little bit of a math exercise. Not really a math exercise, but it's a number puzzle. Do you want to give it a try?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the idea is that I've got a rule in mind, and you guys have got to guess the rule.
Okay.
And so I'll give you 3 numbers that follow my rule,
Okay.
You've got to give 3 numbers, and I will tell you whether it follows my rule.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So numbers are 2, 4, and 8.
Okay. So that'd be like 3, 6, and 12.
That follows my rule.
Yeah. Okay. That's an easy one. I assume you're going to tell me a hard one.
No. It's not to get something. You've got to find out what my rule is. Tell me what my rule is.
Oh, it's exponential growth. They double each time.
Yeah.
No, that is not my rule.
Okay.
Right, you get it now? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so anyone can propose 3 numbers, and I'll tell you whether it follows my rule, and you can have a guess at the rule.
Oh.
Did you propose some numbers, Lee?
12, 24, and 48.
That follows my rule. What, do you have a guess at the rule?
Yes.
What do you think?
Times 2.
That is not my rule.
I think it's times 2.
Well, that is
That is
a
not my
rule.
rule.
That is a rule that
So
will
it's a number
produce
times
that
2.
result.
And then you times that number by 2, and then that number by 2.
Yeah.
He's
That fits, but that is not my rule.
That is a rule that would produce that result. What Megaleech is saying is he has a different rule that produces that result. And can we work out what the different rule is?
It's a very important thing in science that this exercise is meant to convey. That's a hint. Do you want to go again?
that's pretty cool.
Just propose any 3 numbers.
Oh, like Stella proposed the numbers 16, 32, 64.
So with Stella, that follows my rule.
Yeah.
With Coffee and Chill, that does not follow my rule. 1, 1, 1 does not follow my rule.
1, 1, and 1 doesn't follow the rule.
That is correct.
Okay.
Just trying some lateral shelf warmers thrown in. Is the rule any 3 numbers used to answer the question?
No, because 1, 1, 1 didn't follow my rule.
Yeah. Okay. How else to express that relationship between those numbers?
Yeah.
It's
a very important principle in science that you want to think about and utilize to get this.
Double.
What did you say?
Okay, double.
Double.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the rule.
I said double.
Mm.
Well,
okay.
Numbers.
I'll bite Megaleech. What's the rule that we're not getting?
I'll give you a hint.
Of me as the child.
Yeah.
The principle this is meant to demonstrate is falsifiability and its importance. So the best way to figure out what my rule is by falsifying other rules. So say numbers that you don't think fit, and you'll quickly get to it.
Right. 2, 4, and 6.
That follows my rule.
That does follow your rule. Oh, okay. 1, 2, and 3.
That follows my rule.
One number.
Okay, the rule's just the subsequent number's higher than the previous number.
So the next number is
just ascending numbers. Correct. That's exactly right. Normally you'd have to go 1, 7, 2 and get it out of sequence and be like, no, that does not follow my rule. So yeah, the idea is falsifiability and showing that your preconceived notions with the numbers 2, 4, 8, your instinct is it's doubling, right? And so that cognitive bias sort of sets in there. And so you test that out and you go, this number, yeah, I'm getting it. They're all the right. But you've got to falsify it to find out that you're wrong and what the actual sequence is or the rule.
Yeah.
So well done.
It's planting an idea in your head, but that idea is false. You don't actually lie.
That's
you don't actually lie. You just plant an idea that
it shows cognitive bias and how it can set in, and it's hard to break that. So yeah, it's just an exercise to try and get people thinking about that. So yeah, Was that fun, or was that really frustrating?
Yeah, no, that's getting the old noggin to work out.
That was fun.
Very good.
Yeah.
I might cut that and make a little YouTube clip out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is a really good example of, as you say, a form of cognitive bias, and particularly when you're looking at results in things, a big thing people fall for is called survivorship bias. When they try and see is how effective is a particular thing, they look at things that have succeeded and they go, that's obviously the thing that succeeds. And there could be dozens of things that they haven't taken into account that would refute that. Like an obvious one is, apparently some people think when they go, I want to go into business for myself, there are lots of cafes and restaurants, so obviously that's a business that succeeds, so I'm going to open a restaurant. Now, half of all restaurants fail in the first year they're open, and of the ones that survive the first year, half of them don't survive 5 years. It's a really fucking tough job.
Well, I think it's more than half.
Sorry?
Yeah.
What was that, Lee?
I thought it was more than half the businesses not surviving. I thought it was more than half of the businesses not surviving.
That was not a hard statistical number. I said that was just saying the overwhelming majority of all businesses fail. But people look around and they see a lot of cafes and restaurants, and apparently they fall into the trap of going, that's obviously a successful business, I'm going to open a restaurant. But they don't see the ones that fail because they're just gone.
Selection bias,
yeah. One of my favorite versions of it is the webcomic XKCD, which is just very funny generally. And they had a classic thing of survivorship bias. A person giving a motivational speech to a crowd how to get rich because he won the lottery. Oh, looks like Mega Leech's got to run off for a second. And he's saying, hey, people told me the odds were millions to 1 against me winning the lottery, but I didn't listen. I kept buying lottery tickets and I won. And he's not lying, but looking at him succeeding by buying lottery tickets is ignoring the millions upon millions upon millions of people who buy lottery tickets that don't win. So focusing on the one who did win gives you a very false idea of how to succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the same. Another anecdote, bombers in World War II, was a fucking death trip.
I know of people who've won the lottery.
Yeah. Well, someone does. People win the lottery all the time. People win the lottery. But for every one winning ticket, there are millions and millions and millions and millions of tickets that don't win. So,
but it's not a good thing. Not a good thing to win the lottery.
It does ruin some people's lives. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard of a cat in South Australia and won the lottery.
Yeah.
I win the lottery every week.
Most people's lives, I've heard.
By not going in it.
Yeah. Well, yes, it's almost as sure a bet. You're not buying a ticket, your chances of winning are absolutely zero. Buying a ticket raises your chance to a barely measurable chance above zero. So you've almost got the same odds of winning lotto if you don't buy a ticket. Statistically, it's only a very tiny bit different.
And
the odds are only slightly different. Sorry?
And you're paying how much for that chance?
Exactly. It's a circus game. It's absolutely a circus. Oh, yeah, Gamma, rain's back. It's raining here now too. Yes. And so for that is point, you don't get taxed on lottery winnings in Australia. And you do in the US. But you don't get taxed on prizes in Australia.
Is that the same for like game shows and stuff?
Slightly different. If you win on a game show once, that isn't taxed in Australia. But you know how they often invite people back for, champion versus champion. At that stage, that's regarded as something you're working for, and then you do pay tax on it.
Interesting.
But if you do it once, that's a prize and you don't pay tax. But if you go back on one of their champions thing, that's now regarded as you're basically working for it and you do get taxed on it. But in America, you get taxed on prize, which is like going on those shitty game shows like Wheel of Fortune. Half the time, at least, the people never claim the prize they get on that show because they have to pay tax on it. And half the time is the prize is so shitty, it's not worth paying the tax on. So they just never claim the prize, which is a neat little lurk for those shows that they only pay out about half the prizes they say they pay out. Because it's something the person doesn't want and they have to pay tax on it. So they don't accept it. Very weird, but talking about survivorship guys, there was a thing with bombers in World War II. So many people died, Allied bombers flying over Germany. And so they tried to think, we need to strengthen the planes. And so they did an analysis of the planes that had come back, analyzed where all the bullet holes were in the planes. And it said, look, there's a definite pattern. There's more bullet holes here, here, and here. So we need to put lots more armor plating on those bits because that's where they all get shot. And then someone who was a bit shrewder and was into lateral thinking went, no, you want to put the shielding everywhere else. And they go, what? But they don't get shot. They go, no. The people who get shot in those places don't come back. These guys who've come back full of bullet holes, they came back with those bullet holes there. So you don't need extra plating on those bits because they can make it back with those holes in them. Put the armor plating in other places because people who get shot there don't come back. And they went, ooh, that's smart. Because the first impulse, put the plating where all those bullet holes, makes perfect sense. You go, yeah. Well, look, I can see where they get shot. We should put more armor plating there. Yeah.
That's the difference between what's it called? First level and second level or something like that thinking?
Yeah, it's often called lateral thinking.
Yeah.
My favorite example of there's the guy who wrote all the books on lateral thinking. I've forgotten his name. But he made a lot of money. He got hired by some Vegas casinos to try and help them save money on carpet replacement. Because if you've ever been to Vegas, they don't like to appear cheap on anything. Like they have really nice quality toilet paper in the toilets. A lot of places you go to public toilets, there's some really awful toilet paper in the toilets. They don't do that in Vegas. They never want to appear cheap. Like the food in their buffets is usually not horrible. It's usually quite good. They never want anything to feel cheap, and they don't buy cheap carpet. They buy expensive carpet. They want it to all be, but it was costing them a fortune. The foot traffic was wearing out the carpet and it was costing them a fortune. They tried a few things, like they tried those squares of carpet and they thought we could just take out the squares and then put in new squares or put those worn out squares under the poker machines or something. But then the squares never matched because they were different ages and it looked shitty and that didn't work. And they got this guy who was renowned for lateral thinking to come in, help us. How do we save money on carpet wear and tear? And they said, and it can't look cheap. Whatever we do, it can't look cheap. And he goes, okay. And he spent a bit of time looking at the casinos, how it worked, how everything was. And he came back to them with a plan that worked so well. Take out every second light bulb in the ceiling. And then people can't see the carpet as clearly. So it takes a longer time till the carpet appears worn and you save money. And they went, what? And they tried it and it fucking worked. Like they'd been looking at the carpet and he said, okay, the big thing is it's bad if people see the carpet's worn. And they go, this place is really brightly lit. what if we took out half the lights? And it worked. You couldn't see the wear in the carpet as clearly. It was just a brilliant bit of lateral thinking.
Did you hear about the guy and Redhead's matchsticks and trying to save money for that company?
No, what was that one?
Oh, okay. So Redheads, the famous Australian
famous match brand.
Right?
Yeah.
You got your thing on the side that you strike your match on.
Yeah.
Right. So they were spending quite a bit of money on the package, right? The gear that you get in the box. And they were like, okay, so we need to figure out how to save money. And so they got a guy in, and he looked at the problem, and he was pretty cluey. And he figured it out pretty quick. And he said, look, I'll tell you what, instead of a fee, you can pay me a percentage of how much I save you in perpetuity, right? A small percentage, right? I can't remember the exact percentage. Someone can look it up. They can probably tell us by the end of this. And anyway, they agreed to it. And all he did was make the solid chemical strip that you strike the match on a crosshatch pattern through it.
Yeah.
And so that saved 50% of the chemicals in that. Yeah. And so they saved 50% on that, which was actually one of the most expensive components of the matches, was this striking strip. And he's raking in the money, apparently. So
there you
it was
go.
a while ago. Maybe he's dead.
Again, classic lateral thinking. Yeah. Because the one thing they wouldn't want is for the striking surface to not work. But because I've actually seen it. It's either I've seen some matchboxes do the crush and some do like a checkerboard pattern. But there's only half as much.
Solid. If you remember them from my childhood, they used to be solid.
Yeah. Wild. You got to love it. It's I kind of pissed someone off with one. There's because I work in IT. There's apparently a classic one with that was a Microsoft interview question in the 90s. Like, you have to move Mount Fuji 500 meters to the left. How would you do it? And it was, it's a fairly nonsense question, but it was just to try and see how people think. Someone asked me that once, because I'm a business analyst. I'm not a programmer. I'm a business analyst. And they thought they were clever, and they asked me this, and I went, why are we doing it? And they went, what? I said, why are we doing it? He goes, oh, that's not important. You just have to tell me how to do it. I go, why we're doing it is always important. What is the end result we're hoping for? And this guy was stymied because he didn't come up with it, and he wasn't a very creative thinker. And as soon as I gave him a response he wasn't expecting, he was all fucked up. It was really funny. So I was just going like, I need to understand. Yeah, and this is literally the core thing of my job. When someone says they want something, I have to understand why. I have to understand what's the goal, and what will be different. But
Sorry,
I think he's breaking up a bit there.
That was something I would ask that same question. Why are we doing it?
Yeah, it's a logical question. Programmers often don't get that. And it's like, I was saying, this is my role as a business analyst, to understand what is the actual root need here? What need are we satisfying by moving Mount Fuji? Because it's perfectly possible there's a better solution that doesn't involve moving Mount Fuji. He goes, no, you have to tell me how to move Mount Fuji, but I need to understand why.
The answer that you wanted.
I restrained myself from saying, at the moment, the reason appears to be so you can feel clever for asking a question like that. Inside, that's what I was thinking. The reason we want to move Mount Fuji is you want to seem clever for asking the question.
Did he give you the answer?
No, it really confused him. I just said, I need to go back to basics. I need to understand what is it we're trying to achieve. We're trying to move Mount Fuji to the left. No, that's a result. What problem are we trying to solve? Like, is it blocking the view of something? because it's probably cheaper to move the building than to move Mount Fuji, you know. And just because he like looked up, this was a question Microsoft asked, and Microsoft are really smart, and therefore he's smart if he asks it. And I just fucked him up, and I didn't get that job. But you know,
has anyone Googled it to see whether there is an answer?
Well, there wasn't an answer as such. Like Microsoft weren't about the answer; it was to see how people thought and how they approached problems. There was another one like. How many piano tuners are there in Chicago? And you, without like looking it up online or anything, tell me how you'd find out how many piano tuners there are without like the yellow pages, without Google, without anything. Tell me how many piano tuners there are in Chicago. And you basically go, if I'm being logical, what's the population? How many houses are there in Chicago? Okay. What percentage of those houses might have a piano in them? How often do pianos need to be tuned? So therefore, to be economically viable, how many piano tuners would there be? Like, you know, it was kind of like you try to be logical and go, the population is however many million. Well, Lee's switch devices. Lee's swap devices.
That's coming through good.
Yeah, that's coming through quite well. So the logical process was, what's the population? How many of those households are likely to own a piano? How often does a piano need to be tuned? How much would you charge to tune a piano? Therefore, how many pianos would you have to tune in a year to have a viable business? So how many viable businesses of piano tuners could be supported? And that's like the logical sequence to go through to get an approximation of how many piano tuners there would be in Chicago. So it just shows, you know, you understand how to break a problem down and what are the components that you need to understand. There's no answer to a lot of these as such.
It's just the yellow pages on the piano tune.
Exactly. No, that's what you do. You do a Google search on piano tuners in Chicago. And they said, but without the yellow pages, without a Google search, tell me how many piano tuners there are in Chicago. What Stella said, Stella interviewed for a job at IBM. Oh, they did a team exercise. Hate team exercises. One person was supposed to be a saboteur. In the end, they asked us to identify the saboteur, and I correctly said it was no one. And then they got you on their shittiest account because you seem like a problem solver. Let's see, you're punished. You're punished for being a problem solver.
That's the opposite of failing upwards, isn't it? Yeah. It's like succeeding at the shittiest level.
Succeeding downwards.
Because they know you can handle it. You can probably solve whatever the problem is with their shittiest client.
Yep. And that's an actual real thing that happens to some people, their career stalls, because they're super, super good at handling a particularly low-level shitty thing. And they're so much better and they should be promoted into something. But the people higher up goes, oh, God, but if they don't do that job, no one will, and it'll all go to hell. So they have to stay in that job and have a shitty life. It was even in the old musical comedy, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. The young go-getter who, you know, moves from the mail room to the executive board in a couple of weeks just by bluffing his way through things at a very early stage, because he seems like this bright young go-getter. He gets offered a promotion ahead of someone who had seniority to him. And at first blush, it's like, yeah, promotion. And then it's like someone says, yeah, that's a, you know, I got moved into that job, you know, and it's been rewarding for the last 20 years. You know, I've been doing it for 20 years. And he just went, I don't want to do. And then he scores brownie points by saying to the other guy, you had seniority, you should take the promotion, because it's a promotion to a dead-end job. I think Lee is feeding the kitty we've all been able to hear. I'm not sure. That
No,
looked
I'm
like...
feeding my child. Sorry
Oh,
about
that
that.
might be my cat, actually. It's actually my daughter's cat that's staying here while she isn't allowed to have pets where she lives.
That's fair. Oh, it's 10 o'clock anyway.
Oh, wow.
Sally's saying it was the help desk. Yeah, help desk is a pretty cruel job, actually. It's like, yeah, if you're good at help desk, they'll give you the shittiest people to deal with, which is a very cruel way to reward success.
Yeah. When I used to work for IINet, they gave me the crappiest people.
Yeah. If you're good at customer service, you get given really shit jobs. That's the way. I worked customer service for years. That's how it goes. Anyway, it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to go to bed.
All right. Good night, buddy.
Good night, everyone.
I'm planning tonight a bit of a formal Friday extravaganza. I haven't done a taste test comparison. I've got to do a big road test of those Australian gins I got. So I'm going to do 4 martinis with 4 different gins. It's going to be the same other ingredients. And Mrs. Angry is going to help me. She also likes gin, so she'll probably take one of them, whichever one she thinks is best. But it's going to be like your bog standard Tanqueray London dry gin, and then the 3 gins from the Little Bear distillery. The one I think is their standard one, and then the spicy one, and then the overproof Navy strength one. So I'm going to make martinis with each of them and then do a blind test and see if I can tell which is which, see which one I prefer, see which one Mrs. Angry prefers. She'll probably take the one that she prefers. But it's going to be a bloody martini extra. And so I've definitely got to do the formal Friday get up for martinis. Got to do James Bond style. Although they'll be stirred, not shaken, because that's a stupid as hell line. From the you don't stir martinis. Sorry, you don't shake martinis. You stir them. So they will be stirred martinis, and we'll see what a blind taste test reveals. But until then, look after yourself, one and all. Thanks for joining me, Megaleak. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Take care, one and all. I hope to see you again soon. But I'll say